Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Dan Reed with SCORE Maine. If you're unfamiliar with SCORE, we provide small business and entrepreneur help and mentoring, typically in the form of one-on-one mentoring session with a volunteer SCORE mentor who's been in the field and has experience. But we also do workshops just like this one, where we'll bring you entrepreneurial topics from experts in the field in the state of Maine, just like our speaker today, Lisa. And before we get started, I do want to say thank you very much, not only for everyone joining us today, but also to Lisa and Upstart Maine. And I want to also say thank you to the Maine Technology Institute, who's a supporter of SCORE and sponsors our workshop program. And as I was mentioning, I want to say thank you to Lisa, who's going to talk about the life cycle of entrepreneurship today. And I'll hand it off over to her in a second to give a little bit of a background on herself. If you do have any questions at any point in time during today's presentation, please feel free to use you'll see it on the bottom, it says React, and you can use the raise hand function, or you can just post something in the chat and I can read the question out to Lisa. Or if you'd rather wait to the end, we'll have a Q&A at the end as well, where you can get any questions that you have answered. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Lisa.
Hi, everyone. I am Lisa Liberatore. I'm gonna just minimize. Do you want to leave this up or is it harder? What do you recommend?
Is it possible to do in a slideshow format?
Yeah, so let me just put the like this. And then am I gonna hit present? Where is the present button? I think this will probably be okay though, right? I am Lisa Liberatore, the program manager and Upstart an innovation hub, and we connect entrepreneurs to resources statewide. I have been in the role since June, so bringing a lot of new energy and excitement, and very grateful for the opportunity to collaborate and present this today. So we're going to be talking about the life cycle of entrepreneurship. It is a topic that is near and dear to me, and something that I am continuously seeing and helping entrepreneurs navigate. So put together this presentation to, help you wherever you are in the journey. It will constantly be changing. And so if you're not thinking kind of about the next step, hopefully this will help to give you some more optics and some kind of food for thought. Or if you're really struggling with burnout and trying to figure out how do you get out of it, we're going to be addressing that too. So again, feel free to stop me at any point, ask lots of questions, and happy to answer them. So as I mentioned, my name is Lisa Liberatore. I am a serial entrepreneur. I've built and sold several companies in different verticals. And I've had the opportunity to run Top Gun twice and was actually a participant in Top Gun. I had restaurants at the time, and through Top Gun, I was able to create a licensing agreement, and I was able to trademark it and bring on partners. So, and just recently sold the trademark. So I'm very grateful for Top Gun. Also have had the opportunity since its inception to run Scratchpad Accelerator. So Scratchpad was the first seed accelerator north of Boston, working with companies with $100 million markets or more, getting ready to go out and raise capital. And my companies have done extremely well. I'm really proud of them and love assisting and being next to entrepreneurs and helping them grow at any stage. And obviously, I am an entrepreneur. So, know the roller coaster, know the landscape, and just really love helping people and watching them succeed. And so, I also have a son, and my son Dorian, known as D-Max, has a company, D-Max March, and he does a lot of philanthropy and entrepreneurship. And his work has been recognized nationally. Most recently, we found out that he got outstanding in youth philanthropy, so for Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. So we are excited to keep working at a national level to bring about change to communities. And as you can see, we published a children's book, and so really work on youth entrepreneurship. So that's my passion again, and it's really fun to be able to help watch him grow as a leader and an entrepreneur. And again, just connecting to resources. So when the opportunity came for Upstart to be hiring a program manager, Top Gun and Scratchpad are underneath the umbrella of Upstart. So it was kind of a natural fit. So really excited and have a lot of experience in my own life cycle as an entrepreneur, as well as helping guide others. So hopefully this will provide some insight into this process if you don't have a lot of familiarity. So there's no one way to be an entrepreneur. And I think the biggest thing that I would advise to anyone on this call is to really think about where your skill sets are and where your passion lies. So for me, I am a visionary. As I told you, I've built and sold a lot of companies. My skill set, my energy, everything is in bringing a vision to life. And once I get those systems in place, I quite frankly get bored with it. And so I am ready to move on to the next thing because my brain's ready to solve something else. And other people, and we need all these people, don't have that kind of vision and they don't want to set up those systems. They want to take those systems and refine them and scale them. And so, again, just being having a level of self-awareness, because I have met, entrepreneurs and they, wonder why they're, not happy anymore. And again, some of it is just owning like where you are and where you strive and excel in the life cycle, right? You're going to need different leadership and you're going to need different skill sets as you grow and scale. And so sometimes, um, again, like you, and you can level up, obviously you can grow and scale and we can get you more skills and connect you to more people. So as you're transitioning through those phases, and just again giving more opportunities and kind of optics to where your role is. But the goal that I'd love to see is not having businesses close because nobody in the family perhaps wants to take it over, right? And so to really be trying to see more businesses continue to grow and thrive. And I think with that, we're going to keep generating more, awesome economic return and better and stronger communities, which is the goal. And so, really, I have also had the opportunity to help build some classes through the University of Maine business school around buying a business. So if that is an area that you're interested in, there are resources available specifically to kind of make sure that you understand the language and what that journey looks like, and the same with selling. um, and I think it's really important here to note that there is a massive shift of wealth that is coming. The largest ever is coming to females, and they're going to be coming into more control of assets. They are going to be inheriting businesses, and they're going to be making even more financial decisions than before. And so, with that, the evolution will be changing. So, as women inherit more money, they can buy businesses. As they inherit businesses, maybe they'll scale them, maybe they'll sell them. So there's a real shift that is coming. And so it's important, again, as you're wherever you are in the life cycle, to be thinking about, what the future holds. So every time, like I said, I'm a visionary. I love building businesses, but I'm always thinking about when I'm going to leave. And so you're always building towards the future. Who are you selling it to? What are you doing at the end? Because that will inform a lot of the decisions along the way. So it's a really interesting balancing act of, being present in the moment, but planning for the future, making sure that you've got those building blocks kind of in the right way. And so, speaking of building blocks, it kind of goes to the next one. Again, there are these kind of different paths that we talked about. And so, just wanted to kind of go over the pros and the cons. So again, building from scratch, you have the opportunity to have all the say. And you also, have the opportunity for all of the risk. There is nothing proven, and you don't know until you get into it. And you get to, create the culture. You get to set the tone. You're in control, and it's you. At the end of the day, win or lose. So that is a different level of risk than buying a business, right? So when you buy a business, you have an opportunity to do due diligence, you have an opportunity to look at tax returns and really understand what it is you're buying, where you can add value, and be able to build projections that are based in real numbers, quite frankly, right? They're not just literally all made up projections when you're doing something from scratch. And so there's different paths, and so some of this comes back to your risk tolerance and where you are in your career. So buying a business usually requires some amount of capital to make sure for a down payment, and then you'd obviously want to have some in reserves for operating. And so that might be a little bit different versus starting from scratch. You can side hustle it, going back to my son, right? When he was like 7 years old, like he started designing t-shirts and selling them. And so, the barrier to entry can be very low when you start something from scratch, and you have to build the systems and you have to build all of the things that take time and money, but you can do it in smaller amounts than, buying a business. So, does anybody have any questions? I can't see anyone. So is there any questions in the chat before I move on?
The only question we had in the chat was about volume, but I don't think you can turn your microphone up.
No, I'm so,
Amita, can you please turn up your volume? I'm hard of hearing. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
um, I don't,
I
on full, it's on full. I wonder what I can do differently. Is it better now if I talk like louder?
Yeah, that's a little bit better, but I've also taught on Zoom myself, so I know that you can turn up the volume even on Zoom. And thank
Uh,
you.
yeah, I'm maxed out here. Is there another place I should be looking?
I think that's the only place.
Okay. Um, all right, so I will try to speak up. Sorry about that. So now we're going to kind of talk about the sale of the business, right? So again, I had talked about when you are starting a business, thinking about how are you, what does the end game look like? Are you building this to give to your family? Is this a general, generational wealth opportunity? Are you looking to go to private equity? Are you looking to sell it to a competitor as it part of a roll up? Or there is another opportunity, this employee ownership called ESOP, and that stands for Employee Stock Ownership Plan. And this is for really mature companies that are profitable, have very strong leadership, and have at least 10 employees. So this is more, again, for more mature ones. But that is another option. And hopefully, again, closing is an option. But what we're trying to do is to change that tide of feeling like you just have to close, and that you are thinking about years in advance. What does it look like to sell? And when you're thinking about that, then it will help to so if you want to sell, you want to retire in 5 years, you now have an opportunity to be building something to make sure and to be quite frankly like realistic with yourself. If you need a certain amount of money, you want to make sure that your business is tracking to be able to support that. And so there are incredible resources out there for doing a business valuations to make sure that you have an honest assessment of where you are and realistically can you get to that sale price and what needs to happen in order to get there. And it's a good opportunity to again look at your systems and make sure that they are really tight, and that when you put it up for sale that there is a value that you're able to justify. And so again, all of your hard work without really strong systems make it very hard to have a sale. And so the goal is always to be thinking about the systems that you're building and how they can be transitioned. And so wherever you are in the process, it's important just to think about that. And so to give you a couple of examples, I had my very first company was a coffee and tea company, and I, had it online. I had a fundraising division, a wholesale division, and a retail location. And I loved this business. But I also was running a restaurant, and was pregnant. And my my doctor said, that might be a lot, having a kid and running these. So I made the decision to sell. And again, that was not like on the timeline that necessarily I wanted. It's just the way kind of life happened. But because I had really strong systems and I had a really big customer base, just literally talking to my customers, I was able to sell to one of them. She was a really loyal customer. She was like a super fan. And so it was a really easy transition. So again, as you're thinking about your business and you're thinking about, what happens if this thing from left field comes up, like me having a kid, then how are we going to kind of navigate it? And so for me, again, because I had another restaurant, another business that was in the startup mode, I really did have to like stay focused on that one. And so had to say goodbye. And so again, thinking about who are your customers, what does that sale look like? Even if it's not happening soon, being able to see the off ramps is really important, as an entrepreneur, constantly surveying the landscape and being able to plan accordingly, is a really important skill that I can't emphasize enough. Playing some of these different scenarios, is really, is a good thing to do. And so, as I mentioned, Upstart Maine, is an umbrella organization, and under that, we have some incredible programs. And our most recent program that we are getting ready to launch is a partnership with Greenlight Maine. So we are going to be working with 5 companies, in a boot camp. So that again will be kind of that one-on-one mentorship, and guidance to help them to scale. And then we're really fortunate to be able to offer a pitch competition called Big Gig that is happening. And they're actually accepting applications right now. So if you're looking for an opportunity to pitch and win some money, biggig.org is available. And then we are also going to be doing a showcase, which I'll talk about later. But the ecosystem, there's a lot of incredible opportunities. And so the goal, is to be able to come in the front door, to talk to us, and we'll help to connect you, knowing that we are deeply embedded in the ecosystem and that there's a lot of incredible resources. Again, MTI being a sponsor of this event, they have been incredible supporters of Upstart as well. And so again, the entrepreneurial system is here to support you. And we're really excited to we each bring our own areas of expertise and to some extent our own like relationships and mentors. And so, we love seeing companies that have gone through several of the different organizations. So again, like you can go through Top Gun and then you can go to Scratchpad and then you can come back for, a boot camp. And so, there's always learning and growing and connecting that happens. And that's, I think, really unique. When I talk to people across the country, we do have an extremely strong and robust ecosystem. And I'm so grateful that you're here and that you're part of it. And I think that, again, wherever you're struggling, there are resources and we can help connect you. So Upstart does host a lot of events as well. We're really excited to partner with SCORE and to provide some talks. Like next month, we're doing one on pitching. So, again, if you're looking at that as an opportunity to bring in some capital to your business, we're going to be going over some best practices around that, because pitching and learning how to communicate your value proposition and kind of the why we should invest in you, even if it is, $500, is a really important skill. And so very excited to be able to provide that in partnership with SCORE, and then also again connect you to mentors to help you, do that. And so we have a lot of events coming up, so happy to have you come and be part of it. So The one that is coming up next is our business showcase. So that is happening on April 1st. And right now we are accepting applications from entrepreneurs. So if you are launching something innovative, or you've got like a new division of your company, we would love to hear from you. We'll be selecting 7 to 9 entrepreneurs, and you'll have an opportunity to table and to pitch, and be in a room with a bunch of change makers and connections. And so it's really an opportunity to celebrate entrepreneurship and all the incredible things that are happening in the state. Like every time I meet someone, they're doing something cool. It's awesome. And you want to like share it with the world. So we're going to be providing that opportunity. It is in Bangor at Husson University on April 1st. So I encourage you to apply if you're an entrepreneur that's doing something really fun and innovative. And if you want to be in the room, we'd love to have you as well. So there's a great opportunity to, again, it's really wonderful having Zoom, but to be able to be in person and have those conversations and really grow your network, and grow access to help you speed up problem solving, right? Like being an entrepreneur is there is no manual. You just figure it out as you go. And every entrepreneur that I talk to has come to being an entrepreneur from a different path, right? And like that's the fun part. And so, but with it is a lot of curiosity and a constant drive to keep solving the next problem, the next question you have. And when you get to be in a room with really incredibly smart people, it's kind of fun. It shortcuts it. And so, I've gone to events and it just is like, I went in with all these concerns and worries. And by the end of it, I was like, oh, I got a lot of things sorted out and I have new people in my network that can help me. And it's really positive. So I encourage you, if you're not already, to find things that are local and to go and be involved because it really is transformational. Being outside your comfort zone is where growth happens. And so, I can't encourage that enough and would love to meet you in Bangor on April 1st. And the thing is about, again, like I've said before, this ecosystem, you can't do it alone. When I started my first business, I was working full time at the university. I have a master's in college administration. So I was working in career services and the traditional job, like I was miserable on Sunday. I didn't want to, I liked the work, but I didn't like the structure and I wanted freedom. And so I had this idea. My dear friend Eliza was an importer for coffee and tea, and she's like, well, I can help you. You got your lead. And so I actually went to SCORE and I got a SCORE mentor and was like, okay, how do I get happy? How do I find a path forward? And then, from there, it just kept growing and I've been able to, really take the skills and be able to kind of keep replicating them. And so I've been an entrepreneur for more than 15 years and, absolutely love it. And I'm still meeting new people. And so, wherever you are and however many connections you have, we're going to keep growing. Like there is no end to entrepreneurship and to learning and connecting. And as you again evolve, so will your contacts. And so I think that that's a really important piece to have your kind of your advisory group, but also recognize when you've outgrown that advisory group and you need new knowledge and new skills, because it is, it's an opportunity just to keep expanding. So, thank you so much. I left plenty of time for questions and can kind of answer anything else you have.
Yeah, we did have 2 questions in the chat already.
Okay.
We had a question from Chuck. Potential buyers tend to only look at EBITDA. How can you validate the value of your brand, reputation, and market share in your territory in regards to this, how someone looks at buying your business?
Yeah, so I would recommend an independent business evaluation. So there are in Bangor, for example, it's Trinity Brokers Association, Trinity Brokers, and they do business evaluations. So you will have a third party that will be evaluating, the brand, because again, goodwill is a number that goes into the sale price, and they will help to make sure that it's validated independently. So they'll take a look at your tax returns and all of the things, and create that, and then that should help when it comes to getting ready to to buy or sell, to have that kind of independent business evaluation to be able to go against.
We had another question here. Can you share the name of the restaurant you worked with, and is it still in operation?
I've worked with several restaurants. So Blue Baron Distillery has one in Camden, and they actually recently expanded into Portland. So they're Distillery Plus a restaurant. And yes, they are. And it's again really exciting to see them growing into the Portland market with a footprint for their that piece of it as well.
And a follow-up to that one is, if you had a couple pieces of advice for someone interested in the restaurant business, what would you tell them?
Um, what would you tell them? Run your numbers and be okay with walking away from the idea. So I can't tell you how many business ideas I have, because my brain is just like on fire with ideas. And I start doing the numbers. And like when I'm saying, when I was doing my restaurant, when I was going through that exercise of figuring out if I wanted to open it, I literally called the food distributors. Like, I don't have a restaurant, I just have an idea, and I literally knew the amount that each napkin cost. And I knew, like, to the penny, you want to make sure that you have as much clarity on it as possible. The other thing that I did when I was opening my restaurant, lots of things. One of them was I went around within a half an hour radius, and I went into each. Mine didn't have a near competitor, like, which is why there was an open space in the market. So, but I still went around and I looked at their pricing. I looked at how their restaurant was laid out. I tried to gather as much information. So as I was building my model, I had a real clear a sense of the landscape. And then I also talk to people, right? Customer discovery is so important, and you can do all the numbers in the world, but like if you don't actually have some comments and some advice and feedback from actual people that could be your customers, you are missing a real opportunity to dial it in, and to really make sure you get that product market fit. So I was fortunate enough, before I opened my restaurant, like I said, I had a coffee and tea company, and I did have a retail location. So I was very fortunate that I had customers coming in that are already in a geographically like approximate, like it was across the street, right? Is where I was thinking about opening the restaurant. So I knew these people are already downtown. They already parked their car. They already got out of the car. They came to see me. And so I had a real opportunity to dial in and to test, like, if I open something else, how many of these people are going to come and how much are they going to pay? And so for you, it's really leveraging your network and asking the questions. Like, if you're really interested in, whatever the type of food, making sure that you get that and you get the input from people. And the other thing that does is it helps to build momentum, right? Like that people love sharing their opinions. People love providing feedback. And so if you've asked them like, hey, I'm thinking about this and can I get your advice? By the time I opened, I had so many people cheering for me. Like they were so excited because they had been part of the journey. So when you're an entrepreneur, inviting others to join you and to help bring your vision to life, there's a lot of people out there that want to do that. And so, inviting them into that process, while also balancing that with the very real numbers of, okay, how many customers do I really need to make this make sense? The other piece of advice that I would give you is thinking about your life, thinking about your lifestyle and what having a restaurant would do to that, right? The work-life balance is very real. I ended up creating the licensing agreement for my restaurant because I came home and my husband said he was done. So I was left with a 2-year-old, two restaurants, and investment property, and I could not do that all by myself. And so I was forced through just my life to create to get out of that. And so for me, I could do one restaurant, but I couldn't do two. And so I needed to create that. So I think thinking about your life and thinking about your personal circumstances and what being a business owner for a restaurant, that is a lot of hours and a lot of time. And you have to be available. And so we have like there was a time when my husband left and I'm still trying to do two restaurants and somebody would call out and my son's sleeping. I can't, I mean, he's like a baby. I can't like wake him up and rush down to the shop to try to save the shop. So I'm like, well, I guess we're putting a note on the door. So, again, depending on the season of life you're in, like just being really honest about that because you can make money a lot of different ways. And it's not necessarily, they're not all the same. I guess I can say. So I would just, caution you to really look at your life holistically. Money is important. Product market fit and customers are important. And so isn't your personal life. And so isn't that like, do you really want that stress? And February is a hard month, a couple days short, plus then you add some snowstorms. And there were some months that were really dicey to own a restaurant. And so I guess that's the advice that I have for you. I don't know if that answered your question, but that's what I got for you. But a great question. Thank you.
It looks like that's the last question we have at the moment. If you do have any other questions, please feel free. You can unmute your microphone and ask, or you can type it in the chat.
Yeah, and I'd love to if you want to just put it in the chat if you don't want to come off mute or whatever. How many like I guess I'm just interested like how many are looking to purchase one or, maybe sell one. They're very different audiences and so again, happy to talk to any of those things. I was very fortunate as I mentioned, I was going through the divorce and went through Top Gun and created the licensing agreement. Had an opportunity to move to Bangor and to be able to start Scratchpad Accelerator, which was super cool. And through that, I noticed that there was no co-working space in Bangor. And as much fun as it is to constantly meet at coffee shops, it gets really loud. And you get interrupted a lot because, when you see people, you say hi and there goes the train of thought. So anyway, so we've got an opportunity to create a license, to create a co-working space in Bangor. So, that was a whole new learning curve. And then the pandemic hit. And I was home with my son and it wasn't working anymore. So that was another opportunity for us to put it on the market. And again, we had a long-term tenant, client, co-working person buy it from us. So again, the two businesses that I've sold have been within an inner circle. And so that has been absolutely amazing to be able to, have people see it and believe in you. And so really we're just excited. And Ashley has taken that co-working space. She's moved locations. She's like just done incredible things with it. And so I'm really grateful, to be able to see something that you bring to life, to see it, keep going and to change and really reflect the new owner, which is just so exciting and awesome. So.
Yeah, we have one more question from Chuck in the chat. He's considering investors in venture capital companies. He's bootstrapped the whole thing currently himself. What are your thoughts or best advice in that regard?
Well, there's not a lot of context there, so I'm hesitant to really answer it. In the sense that you'd really again like if you have a scalable investment oriented company, you literally kind of can't make it to something like you can only bootstrap so far, especially if it's like a software or something, right? Like the costs are just like crushing. And you need speed, right? Like you've got to try to get a certain amount of market share and that sort of thing. So, um, So I think it depends on the business. Some businesses are literally designed that you need food distribution. Okay. And so again, I think it's just understanding the volume. And so sometimes, bootstrapping is great. Getting, MTI is a great way because they have so many different loan opportunities that you can kind of keep going. And then you can get, you can even pair it with like kind of some angel funding. And so really, looking at who you, I know you bootstrapped, but thinking about, what are those other resources that are out there that you could potentially leverage, and what is the market that you're going for. And again, scalable companies are fundamentally different than Main Street companies. So I had a restaurant, right? And I had a tea company, and the tea company, they both of them were like literally on a main street. I was only getting people that were max going to drive a half an hour for me. When you are doing something that is scalable, like food distribution, you have a completely different landscape that you're operating in. And the sales cycle is very different. The complexity of what it is you're trying to do is much more significant than a Main Street business. And so I do, um, I think that you probably, if you're really going to attack it, yes, you're going to need it. It's great that you bootstrapped it. It's great that you can show what you've done with your own money and how quickly you can make that grow and how successful you can be. And so that when you get capital in, you can very confidently, or not very, but more confidently, say what that next level is that you can get to, right? And so by having that information and holding as much of the company as you can is really good. I think it sounds like you're in a great spot. And then, Main Venture Fund, Joe Powers, he has office hours, so I encourage you to, if you're thinking about investments, like they're open hours, and he's a really nice guy. Like everybody over at Main Venture Fund is awesome, so hopping on a call with them, hopping on a call with Maine Technology Institute, like these organizations are here to help you. And so taking the providing some numbers and a little bit more context, which is not really appropriate for a public setting right now, for us. But I think making those connections would be really powerful for you to be able to see and understand that. The one thing that, again, going back to kind of that work-life balance, when you take somebody else's money, uh, it gets real. You got to hit those metrics, and the that urgency to succeed is more definitely there. When you bootstrap, if you don't do it, then you don't do it, and you make it a thing, right? And if you've got a bank, even a bank is, you're just paying it and we're managing it. But once you are taking outside capital, and they have a vote, they've got a seat on your board, the game changes. And so again, you have to mentally be prepared and understand what it is that you're exchanging for capital. So just, I think, Dan, would you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, one thing I would mention is we have quite a few SCORE mentors who are extremely experienced with both VC and investments as well, and navigating the entrepreneurial landscape in Maine. So if you haven't talked to a SCORE mentor, I would really recommend it. We've had a lot of mentors who've been in the position that you're in now, and they've come out the other side with experience and knowledge that could be helpful to you.
Yeah, I might as well just get on here and say something. Yeah, I actually it was instrumental in the beginning when I first started. The first few years was actually having a SCORE mentor, Jamie Lewis, which isn't from anywhere near my industry. He's from the banking industry, but his advice and what he helped me in building with my business plan and operating agreement and stuff like that, that what the bank was going to be looking for was huge for me to kind of secure financing and what the bank was looking for so that we could buy our facility and scale since then. I guess where we're at now is just kind of, sorry, I'm watching my son get today, but I'm talking a little bit. Yeah. We're just, we've grown and bootstrapped it ourselves the whole way. And we're ready to kind of go to the next level. I'm 47 years old, and just kind of deciding is this the right time or not. Obviously, you don't have any of the details, but that's kind of where we're at, where we're just deciding, is it time to stop doing that? Can we accelerate growth over the next 5 or 10 years to be somewhere better, with the help of the right investor or VC company?
Yeah, that's awesome, right? You're looking towards the future, right? You're looking towards, okay, so how, what does this look like? And I think, reaching out and getting a SCORE mentor, I think, again, talking to MTI and Main Venture Fund, what you're doing is really just, again, it's almost customer discovery for the next phase of your life, right? Is really trying to understand. That SCORE mentor was awesome and he got you to that first layer. And so now, again, like I mentioned earlier, you need a whole new set of people around you and a whole new set of knowledge to be able to make a really good decision. And I think that for sure, reaching out and getting some different voices and hearing different experiences on that venture, that capital journey will help to inform your decisions and to help manage expectations on, what is the likelihood and what are the strings that come attached to it. And again, just making sure that that is the right fit for you. But you're asking the right questions, I think, and you're definitely on the right track. So very cool. Thank you. Okay, yep, great. So we'll get an email for some more information. That sounds awesome. So is there anything else that anyone has any questions about? I hope this was helpful.
I think it was pretty helpful. If we do have any other questions, please feel free. And if not, we'll probably wrap up here and give everyone 15 or 20 minutes back.
Yeah, and I'm happy to, please feel free to reach out to me. I love helping entrepreneurs, hearing where you're at and where you want to go, and helping to connect those dots. And again, SCORE is an incredible place as well to get that one-on-one advice. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for presenting to us today, and thank you everyone for joining.
Yeah.
I'll send out a follow-up email probably tomorrow or the next day that'll have the recording of this event, and I'll also have Lisa's email if you would like to reach out to her. And I hope everyone has a great day.
Yes, thank you so much. It was nice meeting you all. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you.